Hi, everybody, and welcome to Have a Chat at Home. It's a little hard to believe, but here we are. I'm Veronique Arsenault. I am your host today, and I am joined by my amazingly beautiful, wonderfully, incredibly talented co-hosts, Judy Losier and Audrey Lynch.
Hello, everybody.
It's
Hello from home.
hard. It's hard to believe that here we are at home, and it's hard to believe that we're in the midst of a global pandemic at this point. But you know what? It was so important for Judy and Audrey and I to connect with all of you, to say hi, and to see each other. We haven't seen each other in 4 weeks now, so we're safely at home right now and safely distant, although probably a little bit lonely. But we want to say hi to everybody and just get together and really have a chat. And we always say it's just like sitting around the kitchen table, and this time we actually are.
Yes.
So it's funny. I was just telling the ladies just before we went to air, we'll call it. I haven't put on makeup in 4 weeks. I haven't straightened or curled my hair in 4 weeks. So I'm feeling a little bit like a wild child, like I was when I was a youngster. We'll go with youngster. Now I sound really old.
Like an episode of Survivor.
Yes, that's right. I really am roughing it. But ladies, you know what? It's really important for us to connect, and it's really, I'm really excited to be able to say hi to all of our viewers at home. So we'll kick it off. And Judy, how are you doing?
You know, Veronique, that I'm a social butterfly, and anyone that knows me knows that I'm out and about in the community most every single day doing something. I think the take home for me and all this right now is just to really be home and realize that I do have a home and that I have a kitchen. I just discovered I had a kitchen. And to just keep my peace and positivity and look forward to little things in life that I took for granted perhaps before. I'm doing okay.
Well, it's great to see you, Judy. And it's, you and I are used to seeing each other quite often, separate from the show, given the fact that, of course, we're related and family and all of that wonderful stuff. So it's been a long time since I got to see you, and I just want to give you a hug. So I'm going to send you a virtual hug now.
Thank you.
Audrey, same with you. I am missing you absolutely. But how are you doing?
Well, for me, I'd have to say it's been quite the challenge. I was mandated by public health and the government and my cosmetology association to actually close my doors to my business. So that has posed quite a huge challenge for me financially as well. So I've been staying close by the news, watching all the different things and programs that are out there and trying to make sure that, I get my name in and qualify for all these things. But I have to do that on top of the kids and making sure that, of course, they close the schools down and now it's for the rest of the school year. So I have a child who's in high school. So that's another challenge right there that I have to look out for. And then there's the bills and things at home and making sure I've cleaned my house and sanitized, and that I've taught my children all the things that they need to know in order to be safe, because I do have my 18-year-old that leaves the house every day to go to work. He's still working. So the risk of him bringing it back into my home, that causes anxiety for me as well, on top of everything else. So it's been a challenge for sure to try and stay positive. And like you, Veronique, I've had good days and I've had bad days. And today is a good day. I showered and washed my hair. But sometimes you just don't feel like getting out of bed, and it's hard. It's a struggle. It's real.
Yeah, I can totally understand that, Audrey. It's funny. I am, as everybody knows, I think everybody knows that I am a very social being, just like the two of you. And I love going to work every day and the interaction that I get to have with the people that I work with, and I volunteer a lot, as do both of you, and I'm typically out either emceeing an event or attending an event or whatever it may be. And, you know, that shift for me has been huge. Being home here 24/7, and I've taken it. I will say this: I've taken it really seriously, because in my head it's short-term pain for long-term gain. I want to be able to enjoy my summer and be able to see all of you and to hug everybody. And it's funny, I posted on Facebook today that you know, I'm not really a huge hugger, but I do love a good hug. And when this is all over, I'm hugging everybody. I don't care how weird it is, and I don't care how much
Me
you don't
too.
like it. I'm going to hug everybody. But it's much like you, Audrey. I've struggled a bit with it. I know I'm safe at home. You know, rationally, I understand that this is for the best. You know, logically, I understand all that. Why am I doing this? It's so that, you know, my mom can be okay. And it's so that my friends and family can be okay, and the people that I interact with in the community can be okay. Logically, I understand all of that. But emotionally, there are days when I'm like, what is going on? I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I, you know, like you, Judy, I absolutely know that I am blessed, and that everything in my life is good. But there have been days where I'm like, wow, this is the toughest thing that I probably will do in quite some time. And I can't believe that this is the state of the world at this point. But
That's it. And
so
besides myself doing that, it's the kids too, wanting to go out and socialize and do. I have to rope them in and tell them, you know, teach them that that's not what we can do right now.
yeah, absolutely. And you know, washing the hands started this whole thing, and making sure that we could wash them correctly. And you know, the situation has evolved so much. So you know, we've got another couple of minutes before we go to break. And Judy, give me one big thing right now that you're doing that's keeping your spirits up.
So I turn to God for everything, and I believe this is all for a reason. And I truly do believe that this is God shaking up the world, saying, you've made a terrible mess of the creations that I've given you. And it's basically a spiritual reawakening for the whole globe, basically. And I think everyone has had to slow down and not rush through life. And I'm a good example of that. I've rushed through my life since I've been 5 years old, jumping at every opportunity to brighten up someone's day or take on a big event or partake in a big event. And now it's caused me to slow down from going 100 miles an hour and recognize, like I said, the beautiful things around me. My youngest son's home because his graduation was to take place in May, and that can't happen, but that's okay. He's still going to graduate online and have that honor of a diploma. And I also just really have been keeping close touch with my parents who are seniors. That's my number one concern right now, is making sure that they are okay, that they have their needs met. And I'm taking every precaution there is, being married to a physician and a son that's a physician, to keep ourselves safe. And everything I do and everything I take on is just all about the safety aspect of everything, so that I do not spread that virus. And my husband's extremely cautious in and out, and my son is as well. My parents are my number one concern right now, just making sure that they're looked after.
Yeah, and we'll come back to precautions after the next break. So we're going to go to break, and then we'll come right back, and we'll talk some more to Audrey and Judy.
I'm Craig.
Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. I'm your host today, Veronique Arsenault, and we're really having a chat at home today. I am joined by my fantastically, always lovely co-hosts, Judy Losier and Audrey Lynch. Big wave to the camera, ladies. Actually, I shouldn't even say the camera. There's one in each of our homes, and it's our phone. So you know what? We're learning all about technology and, you know, keeping our social distance at this point. Although we miss each other, although we want to be together, now is not the time to let up. And I just wanted to share a few quick facts, or, you know, some of the things that we've learned about the COVID virus since we were all together. When we first started talking about the coronavirus or COVID-19, at that time we knew the information was that it was like the flu and that the flu actually could be worse. But as we've seen, this has evolved so quickly across the world. Countries have shut down worldwide, and for very, very good reason, including our own. So we're now in the second month of the COVID-19 pandemic, health crisis across the world. There are nearly 18,000 confirmed cases in Canada, and 400 fatalities have been confirmed as well. Now, just earlier today, we had a confirmation from Dr. Jennifer Russell, who is our Chief Medical Officer for the province. There are 105 cases in our province of New Brunswick, and although that seems low, we want to make sure that we're not kind of taking our foot off the pedal at this point in our social distancing. There are 59 of those cases are travel related, meaning that they actually traveled out of the country themselves. 33 of those are close contacts of those confirmed cases, and then community transmission cases, and then there's another 7 cases that are being investigated. So, those are scary numbers to me, because it means that our community transmission cases are increasing. And what that means when we talk about community transmission is they don't know where they got it. It means that they connected with somebody or touched something or somehow connected with that virus out in the community. It wasn't that they contracted the virus when they were themselves out of the country. It was transmitted somehow within the community. And it's not necessarily our community here, of course, in Miramichi, although there are cases reported in all 7 zones of the province. But that doesn't mean that we can stop being as vigilant as we need to be. Audrey, with having 4 kids, and being in an industry where things are really, you have to adhere to a lot of safety standards and good practices. What are you doing to help your kids understand? And I know that your children aren't small children, but what are you doing to help your kids understand how important this is, and how are you keeping them safe and yourself safe at home?
Yeah, well, I was telling a friend actually that I thought if my kids were smaller, I would probably have an easier time. Because my kids are older. The social world and hanging out with their friends is something that they do often and they value, and they miss it absolutely terribly. And unfortunately, there are still, gatherings, unfortunately, and I'm having to be the heavy and say, no, you can't go here and you can't go there. I have an 18-year-old son who has his own car that, he could go anywhere he wants to. So I have to make sure that he knows that he's not to get out of his vehicle, and that, only his sister or his brother are the ones that allowed in his vehicle, not to be hanging out with his buddies in town. And my 16-year-old daughter struggles with, how come I can't have my friends over? Believe it or not, they're sort of, because we don't have high numbers specifically in our zone, she's like, well, why not? It's not here. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
That's why it's not here, is because we're following the rules. And I actually had heard that maybe some people from other zones are actually traveling to our zone to do their shopping at our Walmart and our grocery stores, because it's not here, which is extremely shocking and upsetting to me when I'm trying so hard to teach my kids, the rules to staying safe so that we can enjoy our summer and that this doesn't last into the summer.
Yeah, exactly. And Judy, given that your husband, my uncle, and a lot of our family are those frontline workers in the medical profession, and of course Gerard being a family physician and working in the hospital, how are you keeping your family safe? What do you want to say to everybody out there about what we're going through right now, and why this is so important to stay home and keep that social distancing happening?
Well, my feeling, first of all, is that my husband and the hospital feel as well prepared as they possibly can should the community be struck with an outbreak of coronavirus. I mean, I want to give Premier Higgs a great big shout out for the job he's been doing. I think that since we were one of the first provinces to shut things down, and he's putting the hammer down now, that we're really looking good that way, but our testing is still under, it's still under. So we have to do more testing. And so we can't let the numbers keep us feeling that we're going to be COVID free as a Miramichi city, because we know we've had a couple of cases, but when the testing is all said and done and the results come back, we could be facing, we don't know. I think our fear is of the unknown. When my husband goes to work each day, of course, I worry about him so much because he is so heavily involved after 34 years in practice now. And my son in Halifax is frontline as well. So, I mean, they're guarded, they're masked up, they're gowned up. If anyone comes near any of the staff with so much as a sniffle, they're well covered. As soon as he comes home, of course, his clothes go right into the laundry. He's got me scrubbing my hands so much that they're almost off, as well as his own. Wiping everything down. He's just very calm, and his calm is bringing me to a calm and my son to a calm, because you deal with it as it comes, but forewarned is forearmed, and that's the way he's looking at it. And we have a great team at our Horizon network of frontline workers. And also, I want to say how happy I am with all of the beautiful workers that are behind the scene, as in the cleaning staff and all of those people keeping sanitation going. It's so important. And also to all of the people out there, the respiratory technologists. This is a huge thing for them should we get cases in the community.
Absolutely, Judy. And you know what? It's something I want to echo as well. And they say adversity brings out your true character, and we've seen it time and time again across the country. I find our premiers have really led through this pandemic incredibly well. Each of our provinces is led by a different premier, of course, and they have been really remarkable. And then, of course, with our Prime Minister at the helm, and the daily briefings and the updates and the way that they are making decisive decisions and taking decisive action has been incredible. And I do want to tip my hat to Premier Higgs as well. And the one little joke or the one little funny that I've taken, of course, is Premier McNeil and Stay the Blazes Home, because and that just sums up the Atlantic provinces.
Yeah.
that just sums us up. So but I will say this, and I've not always been a huge fan of Premier Doug Ford in the past. I've always just kind of wondered at his policies and his decisions, but he has really stepped up, and I'm very impressed with what he's doing and how he's leading, and how his province is dealing with just a pandemic that is devastating to them and to all those around. So, really kudos to all of the leadership across the country and to our Prime Minister for everything that they've done.
Well, can you imagine leading a country during an unprecedented time, being a premier and a prime minister of a country during this extremely unusual time, and trying to keep everyone balanced and taking all the flack that's coming at them? I mean, put yourself in their shoes. It's one of the hardest tasks that they'll ever face in their lifetime. And the Queen the other day was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, it gave me goosebumps to hear her speak. It gave me goosebumps to hear her speak with such poise, and it was reassuring. It really was, to the people and to all of the world globally. It really was.
She's a remarkable woman.
Yeah, and we want to make sure that we emphasize. We want to make sure that we emphasize as well. Keep washing your hands. Like, we're not done with that. And just as you said, Judy, my hands are almost raw. And I very rarely leave the house. I leave once a week to get my groceries for my mom and I. And, I've utilized those, that great online app that one of our local grocery stores has, which is, the Atlantic Superstore. And the other grocery stores are doing everything that they can to ensure that people can be safe as well. So we're going to go to break. We still have more show to come. So don't go too far. Grab a coffee and we'll have some more chat right after the break. Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat at Home. I'm your host today, Veronique Arsenault, and I am joined virtually by my wonderful co-hosts, Judy Losier and Audrey Lynch, who are at home as well. And we've spent a wonderful time together this afternoon getting to chat a little bit. But Judy, as we look forward, what is that thing that you're most looking forward to, or what are you most looking forward to when all of this is over?
I can't wait to get back to my home that I grew up in and go in and really give my parents a big hug. And even my family at home, we're social distancing because you're supposed to not be close together. Because even if you go for groceries and wear a mask, which I have been, that's what I'm doing. There's still that chance that if you go out to the store, you could give something to somebody at home. So we're keeping our distance, but it's to get out and re-engage myself in the many events that I'm involved with in the community, and to talk and hug people like you.
I can't wait to see you, Judy, in person. And Audrey, what are you most looking forward to doing or being or having when this is all over?
The thing that I'm truly missing the most is my business, my work family, and my clients. I never, it's not just a job. I realize how much I value and miss our conversations and our communication, and with my girls that work at my salon and all of my clients. For me, that's number one on my list, believe it or not. At first, I thought I would enjoy the break. It's almost like a holiday, but it's truly a struggle, and I feel like I miss them so much.
Yeah, I totally get it, Audrey. I do. And it's funny. I thought that it would be kind of like a break too, being home and not having things that I had to go to or those commitments that you make to either attend an event or participate or whatever it may be. But I am also missing all of that interaction, and I get my energy, as I said a little bit earlier, from being around people. And I will tell you, I am looking forward to getting to talk to people again face to face. I'm looking forward to, giving people a great big hug when I see them. As squishy as I may be at times, I sometimes forget and take it for granted that I can do that. And I'm looking forward to getting outside as much as possible and experiencing the great big world that we have and everything that we can do here. So it's I'm looking forward to the summer, and the more that we can stay home right now, take care of each
That's
other,
right.
wash our hands, socially distance
Even if
ourselves.
you're just at home, wash your hands. Yeah.
Don't go
the more that
running
we can
around.
do. Yeah, no, you're right, Judy. We can't go running around. The more that we can do all of those things right now, the more that we'll have the amazing summer that we're all hoping for.
You know what I mean? So there's such an urge for people to want to come together, but you have to resist it and make the best of it. And
Yes,
Absolutely. So we're going to wrap up for today.
definitely.
We're going to say goodbye to everybody, and we're going to thank everybody for tuning in.